because there's three distinct applications for HP, homeoprophylaxis. One is travel, tropical diseases. Are you going to Africa? Are you going to India? So that would be one application. Another would be childhood infectious disease. So are you looking to boost your children's immunity towards the general diseases that children contract? Or the third application, epidemics and pandemics. So once we determine that, it's going to be addressed uniquely based on what your needs are.
Well, of course, we're interested in pandemics right now.
Right. So I actually did a survey, a casual survey, 508 people using influenzainum CV to see what their experience would be. So I started in February, March, and collected data by September of this year. And there were 508 people, and out of those people, only 9 tested positively for COVID. Mm-hmm. And out of those 9, 4 of them had no symptoms whatsoever. 3 of them had symptoms that lasted 1 to 3 days and were mild, and only 2 of them had symptoms that lasted more than 3 days. So this was not a scientific study by any means. I did not have a control group. It was simply a survey. I wanted to see how people would fare, and I felt that they fared well. Other countries have also employed homeoprophylaxis. India gave one remedy that was arsenicum 30C to literally millions of people and had a very positive result with those individuals. Cuba used something called Provang-Ho, which was a combination of influenzainum, similar to what I used, and genus epidemicus remedies, which were a variety of remedies to treat specific symptoms. And they gave it in drop form, and they had about a 90% effectiveness rate with their population. So another group from the US has used the nosode from COVID itself. So there are different methods. There's no one method that has to be used. Many methods can be effective. So the product that I used was a combination of influenzainum, which is historical flus, including New Caledonia, Moscow flu, Sichuan flu, H1N1, also basilinum, which is tuberculinum, and also pneumococcinum, because of the lung symptoms that were a result of COVID. So any product that's being used is showing some nice results, no side effects, no harm whatsoever. And, in different areas, different things are being used.
So what's the experience for me? Is it one dose and I'm done? How does it work?
So depending on your exposure and your susceptibility, that's how we always dose homeoprophylaxis. So let's say you're in your house, you're not leaving, you're not exposed to anyone, you can dose once a month, simply one dose a month, which is a few pellets. If you're going out, you're being exposed, you're teaching school with children, whatever, you can dose once a week. And these directions all come with it. But let's say someone in your family, in your home has COVID, you could dose it more frequently when you're in their presence. So it's variable, it's very user-friendly, and it can be dosed in a variety of ways.
Yeah, and there's no risk of adverse effects from this?
None whatsoever. It's because it's energetic. There's no more risk than if you were listening to music or someone were praying for you, or it's an energetic form of medicine.
And, with me, I mean, I'm flying all over the place and, living my life right now as if, or at least trying to live my life as if there's no such thing as COVID. People come into my house, wearing masks. I'm like, this is a no mask zone. No masks are necessary here. So, so I guess, I'd be maybe one of the more frequent, users. What does it cost to do homeoprophylaxis? What kind of a cost?
It's fairly inexpensive. I mean, the product that I'm selling is $49, but it lasts a family of 4 to 6 for multiple years.
Oh, wow.
So it's pretty inexpensive. In India, the government's giving it away to many of their citizens. Homeopathy is not expensive.
Have you seen many of your own patients or people that you care for, that have tested positive for COVID or actually get the disease where they have symptoms?
Yeah, I've treated quite a few people who, not who've taken influenza, but other people calling me, some doctors, some, different people who don't want to take any conventional medication. So, treating them homeopathically is very manageable. You see people move through the symptoms much more quickly, much more easily without long lasting effects. I hear these cases of what are they called? Long haulers, where
Hmm.
people have symptoms afterwards. And, I have to think that from a homeopathic perspective, that these people have underlying conditions. These people might have asymptomatic autoimmune diseases or other comorbidities that they are prone to have continued effects from anything that they catch. If they had influenza A or B, if they had a cold, they could have continued effects.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah, and I guess would you agree that the smart thing is to get healthy, not wait till something happens and try to do something about it, but to get healthy and be in a heightened state of health that can process the exposure to coronavirus as compared to going and hiding in the corner, not getting out, not getting sun, not doing all the quarantine recommendations. I think compromises your immune system and your immune function. So do you agree with that? And other than homeoprophylaxis, any other things that you recommend to just be in a heightened state of preparedness?
yeah, I couldn't agree more that, it's really about your baseline immunity and your degree of health. And by trying to modify things by masking or secluding yourself is basically creating an environment where you become more prone to catching something and add fear into that.
Mhm.
So, whenever you add fear, you're compromising your immune system. And just like when antibiotics came out and they were a miracle in the face of gangrene or syphilis, they became a nightmare because we had antibiotic resistant bacteria.
Mhm.
Similarly, with something viral, if we avoid it, then eventually when we are exposed to it, it could have mutated. We're seeing mutations now. That's the nature of a virus to mutate. And yeah, so recommendations for just boosting your natural immunity, definitely vitamin D. I mean, this is a common understanding anymore.
Mhm.
Zinc, absolutely, for viruses. Vitamin C. Dr. Brownstein has a nice protocol with boosting D, C, zinc, um, if you do contract COVID. So definitely you can do those immune boosters if you do contract the virus. So yeah, absolutely. I feel like it's a matter of maintaining our integrity, both emotionally and physically, with natural, real immunity,
Mhm.
and not being convinced that we're in peril every time we walk out our door.